Imagine conducting an interview that is meant to preserve your reputation, only to have one pizza place turn into one of the most talked about topics in contemporary royal history, not Scotland Yard, Parliament, Buckingham Palace, or PizzaExpress. Somehow, a Woking family restaurant became embroiled in one of the most scrutinized royal disputes of the 21st century. Years later, the same question was raised by investigators, reporters, royal analysts, and the restaurant itself. Was Prince Andrew present on that particular day? The solution proved to be much more intricate than anyone had anticipated. In addition to royal interviews, there are other types of interviews. Prince Andrew's November 2019 visit on BBC Newsnight has been one of the most scrutinized occasions in modern royal history. It was meant to address concerns about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, but instead it turned into a stunning demonstration of how a public relations plan can fall apart. People anticipated challenging inquiries. They anticipated moments of discomfort. They most likely did not anticipate that pizza would be one of the most memorable aspects of the interview. Specifically, Woking's PizzaExpress. Someone would have been laughed out of the room if they had prophesied years ago that a single location of a chain of restaurants would become one of the most well-known pizzerias in Britain because to a royal alibi. And yet here we are. Andrew maintained that on March 10, 2001, the day Virginia Giuffa claimed he had sexually assaulted her, he had taken Princess Beatrice to a birthday celebration for a portion of the afternoon before going to PizzaExpress in Woking. Andrew said he can still clearly recall it because it was such a typical family outing. People were immediately drawn to that since memory is an intriguing phenomenon. Most individuals struggle when you ask them what they had for dinner 3 Tuesdays ago. People typically shrug when you ask them what they were doing on a random Saturday more than 18 years ago. However, Andrew seemed extremely self-assured. He clarified that he was taking care of his girls on his own since Sarah Ferguson was away in the US at the time. He added that staff members had verified the events of the day by looking through his journal. That sounded comforting at first. A family routine, a journal, a dining out experience, it's fairly easy. However, this was not your typical assertion. After the interview, PizzaExpress Woking became one of the world's most talked about eateries. Overnight, the branch rose to unlikely fame. On the internet, many made jokes about how it should be considered heritage. Travelers came just because they heard the name. It became the center of entire performances for late-night comedians. The internet had discovered its next passion, as it frequently does. However, there was a serious question hidden behind the humor. Is it possible to verify the alibi? It seems that more people were interested in that question than journalists. PizzaExpress itself made the decision to look into it, according to BBC Newsnight. Indeed, it has been claimed that the restaurant company conducted an internal investigation. Give that some thought. The majority of businesses use their time to design new menu items, evaluate client comments, and check invoicing. According to reports, PizzaExpress was forced to look into incidents involving one of the most well-known members of the royal family that occurred almost 20 years ago. If something seems out of the ordinary, it was. Officials from the corporation reportedly looked through old documents. They made an effort to find previous employees. They searched for anyone who might have been employed on that specific day at the Woking branch. When feasible, managers present at the time were contacted. Records from previous jobs were examined. It was an easy hope. Maybe someone recalled, maybe there was paperwork. There might have been something that either confirmed or refuted the narrative. Rather, they ran into time, which is the largest challenge to any historical inquiry. It had been over 20 years, employees had moved on. Supervisors had departed, there were few records. Recollections had faded. According to reports, the manager who had been in charge of the restaurant throughout that time was no longer employed by the business. History truly makes life that simple, as anyone looking for a significant breakthrough soon found out. PizzaExpress apparently came to the very surprising decision after finishing its review. There was no proof that Andrew had gone to the restaurant, but there was also no proof that he hadn't. To put it another way, the inquiry resulted in uncertainty, which investigators occasionally detest more than anything else. The result was frustratingly in the center for those who were hopping for a definitive yes or no. Imagine trying to find a misplaced photo in an attic. You search for hours and discover nothing. That does not imply the picture was never taken. It merely indicates that you were unable to locate it. That distinction is important, and it became the focal point of the discussion. Evidence of absence does not always imply the absence of evidence. Because it perfectly describes this type of circumstance, that phrase is frequently used in investigations. PizzaExpress was unable to verify the visit. It couldn't rule it out either. That, of course, did little to quell popular interest. If anything, it prompted more enquiries. Nor was BBC Newsnight ready to end there. The program claims that journalists conducted their own research. Reporters made an effort to locate prospective patrons, past staff members, and anyone who might have been inside the restaurant that night. Is there anyone who can recall seeing a royal place a pizza order? It sounds nearly unreal, but it developed become a legitimate field of study. No one explicitly recalled Prince Andrew being there, according to the program's later assessment. Once more, there was a significant caveat to that discovery. It is hardly surprising to forget someone after nearly 20 years. Thousands of patrons are served by restaurants. After 19 years, even a royal visit might not be entirely obvious. Nevertheless, the absence of witnesses unavoidably became another topic of discussion. Then there was yet another intriguing turn. The Metropolitan Police received a request for information from BBC Newsnight. The request was simple. On that particular day, did Prince Andrew have any royal protection officers with him? Official records may be used to determine his movements if protection officers had accompanied him. Rather, Scotland Yard refused to acknowledge or refute the existence of any pertinent data. The justification: security of the country. Debate was instantly ignited by that response. Some contended that disclosing operational specifics pertaining to royal security might set an unfavorable precedent. Others questioned whether verifying police protection from about 25 years ago actually constituted a contemporary security issue. Sir E. Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, was one among many who voiced concerns. He openly contested the ruling, questioning why data about protection agreements from decades past should be kept secret if it can provide light on historical occurrences. The conversation went beyond a single eatery. It was included in a broader discussion about transparency. To what extent should public institutions reveal their past? Where should accountability start and privacy end? Opinions on those issues are still divided today. In the meantime, the main accusation did not change. Virginia Giuffa said that at the age of 17, she was coerced into having sex with Prince Andrew after being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Andrew has continuously and adamantly refuted the accusations. He has insisted on his innocence time and time again. 2022 saw the legal complaint filed by Ms. Giuffa reached a deal outside of court. Crucially, Andrew did not acknowledge any wrongdoing or liability as part of the deal. Although public discourse has frequently concentrated as much on perception as on legal outcomes, that legal distinction is still important. Whether or not people accept the alibi, the phrase PizzaExpress woking quickly became part of British popular culture, which is how the PizzaExpress story became so remarkable. For the duration of the interview, it became shorthand. When you mention those three words nowadays, a lot of people know exactly whose tale you're referring about right away. That is extremely uncommon. Few eateries are included in the political and regal history of the country. Fewer yet end up as symbols of a single interview. In retrospect, the thing that surprised me the most was probably not what PizzaExpress looked into. The reason is that the inquiry revealed something far more significant. Everyone was looking for assurance. Certainty remained elusive despite the restaurants', journalists', viewers' and commenters' searches. The accusation was not confirmed nor refuted by the investigation. Rather, it emphasized how challenging it may be to reconstruct historical events when time has passed and there is little documentary evidence. There are moments when history leaves obvious traces. Sometimes it just leaves questions unanswered. And that may help to explain why, years later, people are still captivated by this tale. Almost no one could have created the narrative, which blends aristocracy, controversy, journalism, public relations, and one surprisingly well-known pizza company. Because PizzaExpress ultimately followed the guidelines set forth by investigators. It examined the evidence that was at its disposal, followed the facts that it could locate, and honestly reported what those facts could and could not demonstrate. Admitting that the evidence does not offer a conclusive answer is sometimes the most honest conclusion. I sincerely appreciate you viewing British Affairs today. We appreciate your support if you liked this video, and we hope to see you in the future.